My bad, my bad. Finishing a couple of these bites. Morning. Our daily bias is gonna be bearish, right? We could get the longs on the retracement pop, but because we have more of a two-way auction now, we get a little bit more, or we're getting a little bit more sellers, excuse me, stepping into the market. Trent Line, what's going on, brother? Nikigo, message me, bro. Let me know if there's other ways I can help. Morning, Xavion. We're on the 30-minute right now. Let's go to a lower time frame. Yesterday we caught the meat of the move on the downside move. We had to have a lot more patience, and this is how we're playing into today. So if we come over here, we can see these were our entries and exits yesterday. In the morning, we initially were getting long, right? We were initially getting long here in the morning, looking to rip back to the all-time highs, but we flipped our bias in the moment. So let me go to this 1 minute now. So here in the morning, after we sold off, we were looking to get long, targeting those pre-market highs and then pretty much the all-time highs, especially trading at all-time highs. Now, after a few minutes in the market open, we started getting a lot of aggressive sellers stepping into the market. Not only that, whenever we were popping, like on these candles over here, we were getting a lot of sellers stepping in. That's why I was comfortable looking to get short and flip the bias. Because at first I was going to sit there and I wasn't going to take any trade because I wasn't having a clear read on the market. But when I started recognizing aggressive sellers jumping on that retracement pop, it gave me the confidence to sit in that position. We started to consolidate pretty much all morning since, what time was this? Since 30 minutes in the market open, or we started to get short 20 minutes in the market open yesterday. We held through all the consolidation. We were looking for a reclaim of the 24,975 level. If you missed yesterday's live stream, you can go back and study this level that we were looking for a reclaim, or we would have been out of this position. We got the consolidation. Whenever we started popping towards these highs, seeing the market fail gave more confidence and conviction in the trade to the downside, especially because we're trading outside a level of value. So because of that, we started to recognize we were building a very tight level of potential distribution. Once we started making those lower lows, I started becoming a lot more comfortable and convicted in the move down, especially because we're trading at all-time highs, right? I mean, we had a beautiful level of balance here. We got a ton of consolidation, a ton of time in price acceptance, and then we finally sold off near midday. After that aggressive sell-off, now we're kind of in a retracement kind of move. So because of that, we're still bearish, but the best risk to reward is always going to be near your levels of value. So we're not just going to jump in and start getting short, because we have the potential to retrace all the way back up to this level of value up here at 24,975. So because of that, we're going to be patient. We either sell off here and trade within this level of value, or we're going to get the better imbalance move back down to these lows if we can get back up here. Ton of aggressive selling, not a ton of follow through just yet. Some absorption going on. This is just another view to look at order flow. You can see we have this candles separate now, and then we have the order flow on the side of the candle. It's another way you can do that. I usually use flat. This is usually the one that I'm using, but you can also use something like this. Let me take this back down to, I think this was at like 3. Yeah, we'll keep the wicks pretty thin, but we'll increase the size of the body of those candles. All right, now we'll increase them a little bit more. Let's go to 20. There we go. Are you on YouTube? Yeah, Jordan, you can slide over to the YouTube chat. We're over there. What's your green box below? This is a level of value that we have, Xavion. So all these green boxes are always levels of value for the most part. Getting some absorption right now. Rimshack, what's going on, bro? Right now I'm using ExoCharts. It's a footprint order flow tool, so it'll allow us to see all the orders being transacted at each price level. Right now I have it on the delta. That just shows us the difference between aggressive buyers and sellers at a specific price level. So we get to see who was a little bit more in control, who was dominating those specific prices. Right now, what's really interesting is we're getting a lot of aggressive selling. We're getting more aggressive selling than aggressive buyers, but this candle is turning green. So that lets us know we have some live absorption occurring right now in the market, right? More aggressive sellers than aggressive buyers. How is it possible that the market is pushing up right now? Bro, is that previous day values from singular days? Are you combining days together sometimes combining them together, but this one is combined with a couple days, I believe, our top level of value, which we got our main short opportunity off of. I think it's combined with I think it was combined with last Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, or just last Friday and Monday, and then that price action over the weekend when the market opened up Sunday night or Sunday evening. Yeah, I've got same box as you from previous days. I've had 3 days from last week together. Yeah. Especially because all-time highs, we didn't really have much else to go off of or trade off of. We knew the top was coming. We knew that pullback was coming. It was just a matter of when it was going to come. And that helped us gauge it pretty well. It's basically fake bullish, fake out. Exactly, 100%. But we need to see how this plays out right here. We need to see if aggressive sellers can remain in control and how aggressive these aggressive sellers are right now. I'm not looking to take any longs right now. I'm not looking to take any shorts. I need a little bit more of a better read on the market before I do anything. I know I'm bearish, but if I take the bearish opportunity, I want it at higher prices. I don't want it right here. And that's just me personally. That's my personal game plan. What's up, Errol? How you been? I've been pretty good, Tacky. How you been? It's been a while since you've been in one of the lives. I like to trade in or from these boxes. Yeah, again, those are the levels of value. I mean, those are the two states of market we're always trading in, right? We're either in a balanced market or we're in an imbalanced market. And from there, you know what type of strategies to deploy or what type of market behavior you can expect depending on which state we're in. One's going to be more directional. One's going to be a little bit more of a range-bound market. So you know what to do. You have the proper context. You're not going to be looking to buy breakouts when we're trading within balance. That would make zero logical sense. Right, and it's like, why would you be trading mean reversion strategies when we're in imbalance? It's like, gonna get chopped up. Market's gonna rip against you. Morning, big deal. Glad you made it today. Did you find a trade yesterday? Yeah, we did. Big deal. We got short. I posted it. It's on Twitter as well. Posted the screenshots over there. Is there another check to be in besides YouTube Live? Is there another stream to be in besides YouTube Live? No. We're live on TikTok and YouTube simultaneously. Big deal, but it's same thing. Been focusing on UNI trading in classes. Uni trading in classes here and there. Got some scalps in today during London sesh. Nice, Tacky. So you've been pretty busy on the grind. I hear you. Where are you from? You from Europe? Because you said you called college uni, which I feel a lot of individuals from Europe call college university or uni instead. I'm counting all the teachers' money this time around. UK, yeah, I thought so. Yup. College is cheap in uni? No, I get it. Hey, I already know college is scamming us Americans. All of us know it. And the ones that don't admit it are just in denial if we're being completely honest. You know, college degree is definitely a great asset, especially for in any type of STEM field, lawyer, doctors, of course, obviously. But is college ripping people off? Of course, that's not even a question. I think everybody knows that. And if, you know, at this point, college free, uni cost. No, I mean UK college free. Yeah, no, I hear you. You know, we got a lot of problems in America too, but we got to call it what it is. College is a scam, is scamming most people in America, right? Thankfully, college here is free, so pretty blessed to be honest. Yeah, that's fire, bro. I know you're gonna kill it. Some people are not great Some people need structure to function. Some people are not great self-teaching. No, 100%. You know, we all have different. We're all wired differently. And I do believe, though, we're a product of our environment. I do believe a lot of the way all of us are is because of our earlier days in our childhood, you know. I think that really was ingrained into a lot of our personalities. So, bro, UK trying to take all my trading cash. UK is messed. Tax. Yeah, no, the taxes be crazy. I admit. Taxes in other regions can be crazy, too. You know, I think all of our regions, we definitely all have our own issues, for sure. We all have things that we could make the process a little bit better. Screaming to Twitter or X. I forget you can do that with Twitter too. I don't know if the software that I'm using will allow you to stream to Twitter too. I need to double check though. We're getting a lot of aggressive sellers stepping in here at our value area high, so watch out for that. Again, we're bearish. It's one of those trades where I have swing positions onto the downside, so I'm okay if I'm not taking directional futures trades on this. I would have preferred to keep on some of my position from getting short yesterday because that provided one of the best entries for the short opportunity if we don't return to those price levels. You're not going to know that until hindsight, until after things play out. Now we're getting the sell-off. Would I want to be short? Yes, of course, absolutely. Am I short? Yes. We got some short spreads on in QQQ. We got some short spreads on in SPY. But I don't have a futures contract on short right now, so we're going to wait for more of a re-entry. But if you are short, you already know the game plan like we talked about. We're going to target these swing points right here. These are the most prominent swing points. The fact that we didn't take these levels out yesterday and we made a new one made this a more convicted short that you could potentially target because we never broke the market structure. We pulled back yesterday, but we have not broken structure yet on a higher time frame. I heard if you went to Australia and lived there, college is free. Any Australians up in the chat? Did I do that accent correctly? And I don't know if anybody else knew this, but out here in Chicago, and pretty much, I hear it's a lot to do with the weather lately. Like over the summer, it was pretty humid over here. But in all the high rises, like there are spiders on the outside of the window, and they just be dropping down, hanging out, chilling, like nobody's business. I'm not talking like tiny little spiders. They're like, you know, some decent sized spiders. I'm like, yo, what are we in Australia right now? We just got spiders as pets chilling outside of our windows. But we did some research and found out that a lot. I almost said aggressive spiders because I was looking at this aggressive selling in the market right now. About to take out our swing low that we were talking about. But anyways, they say number one, spiders are good with catching a lot of those bugs. Number two, because of the weather, it attracted a lot more spiders this year. But number three, those spiders are no joke in Australia. Is also what I've heard. But number four and last point is the fact that spiders, I guess, love high rises. Maybe they just climb up here. I also heard they float up here because of the wind, which is nuts. And then, getting to a higher position probably helps them catch more food, and then to not be bothered. But I'm like, yo, is that a thing? Do all high rises have spiders because they're so high up in the air and, flies and bugs are easier to capture? It's like, what? All right, guys, aggressive selling. We took out the swing. We almost took out the bottom of the swing low. But we're getting more signs that we may accept into this level of value. So if that's the case, that's awesome. Actually, it's whatever, honestly. But if we do get acceptance within this level of value, it does give us more insight in the fact that, number one, the market environment is shifting a little bit. And the tape is just completely different. We're actually having sellers step onto the tape. We got more of a two-way tape, not just one way like we've had over the last couple weeks. Is the profit margin better on ETFs than futures? So with the ETFs, you would use options, right? So, I mean, yeah, I would assume options, maybe not stock equities, but if you use the weekly options of the 0 DTEs to take the same exact trades on something like futures, you can make more money on 0 DTE options. And in my opinion, it's not even close just because the buying power is so much lower and you get much greater opportunity to get way more reward because of how cheap those contracts are. And you're not looking to hold them very long. So I would say you get better risk to reward using the ETFs. They have different, they're just, they both have their pros and cons. But if we're talking risk to reward, you're all day, any day. And I stand on that. That's something that I've thought of for a long time, is the fact that you can use something like QQQ to trade 0 DTE options. So if you're looking to get short NASDAQ, you just buy the at the money put options on QQQ or SPY. Way less buying power, and then you're going to make more multiples on that too. I think depending on what software you're using, it can be more difficult to manage your risk trading options because of how volatile they can be, right? But if you have the tools, the risk to reward is a lot higher on those. How long have you been trading for? It's been about 7 years now. About 7 years. You thinking longer, more sell? Right now, I'm trying to get a good read on the market, right? We've been bearish all morning. But just having the bias isn't good enough. Execution is all that matters. That's where the details come in. But overall, I'm bearish. And if we sell off down to these lows, then I would look for a retracement pop to go ahead and get short again. Or we get a retracement pop up here. So I would like the market to either sell off, pop back up here so I can get short. Or if the market wants to fake everybody out of this level of value, come back up here, and then I'll short around this level of value. That's what I'm looking for. My overall bias is bearish. But being patient to get a clear read. The trade that we had taken yesterday, we were getting long in the morning right out of the gate. We cut that, we stopped out, and then we flipped our buys. We sat through the consolidation. We got a lot of distribution, sold off down to the lows. We did end up bottom ticking the cover, almost bottom ticking. We were like a minute. We were 1 minute too early. If we waited one more minute, we would have bottom ticked this. But we covered that because we sold off to this other level of value, right? Which is over here yesterday. That's why we got out and managed the position. We got short again, terrible risk to reward. That's why in the moment I was like, let me just get out. Why would I even take that trade if I'm being completely honest? So one of the reasons why was because I wanted to re-add if we got a retracement pop back up at these levels. So I entered, and then a minute later, I came to my senses and was like, Errol, bro, even after 7 years, like, you got to check yourself sometimes. But that's what we're looking for, right? So overall, bearish, it's more so about finding an entry with solid risk to reward that you can execute with confidence. That's really what it is. It's not really about, are we having trouble finding our bias? We know exactly what our bias is. It's now really just going to come down to execution and finding your areas to take advantage of. Right. A lot of aggressive selling all morning. Sellers clearly in control out of the gate just by looking at the delta bars down here at the bottom. I became good at this. I post what market's going to do. Most likely it does still no engagement. I think I'm just going to stop showing people in TikTok. No, I hear you. I mean, um, hey, real ones know when you're giving really good value and like really great insights, you know if you're doing that or not. So I think it doesn't really matter about the numbers. Like the real ones are gonna come across and be like, bro, thank you so much for dropping this info. Even if you only have a few people checking out your content, whatever it is, like, you know, that person that's in that position that is trying to get to that level of understanding that you're at, you know, you would have killed for somebody to do that for you, and you know too, if you're in that position, you probably would rather wait for people's streams to be small if they're actually giving real information. You probably don't want them to get too much attention because you recognize the value in what they're actually giving, right? Sometimes it even catches people off guard. Like, I come up here on TikTok and on YouTube, like, why would I just give this info for free? But I also think it's extremely funny and ironic because who does that? Who hops up on TikTok or YouTube and legitimately gives order flow advice that professional traders at prop firms are using? No one's doing that. And so it's kind of fun too. It's like, this stream isn't big. This isn't massive. We're a pretty small community. Um, but if you know, you know. It's one of those things. If you know, you know. If you see the value, you see the value. If you know what's up, you know what's up. It's one of those things too. So I think whatever you put out there when it comes to content or social media wise, put it out there, and you don't try to persuade people or be like, look guys, what I'm talking about is real. You don't try to persuade people. You just put out what you put out, and if you know, you know, and the real ones are going to catch on. If it's people that are just looking to chase dollars and signals, you might be giving out really good info, bro. But if people are chasing quick money, dollars, this, that, and the other, they're not here for information. They're here for getting their hand held and buying signals and doing this, that, and the other. So you don't even want that audience in the first place because they're not here for what you have to offer. They're here to be told what to do. They're here for a shortcut. Most people want to learn what's easy. That's the issue. Order flow isn't easy to learn. Order flow isn't easy to learn. It's not fast cash, but I would kill for someone to introduce these concepts and ideas to me my first year of trading. You know how much time and money I missed out on and sacrificed because I just wasn't shown the direct way, the correct way of how to go about things. You know how much money and time I sacrificed? So even though it's difficult, you at least want to be pointed in the right direction. It doesn't matter how hard you work. If you're pointed in the wrong direction, you're going nowhere. It does not matter how hard you work. So I know order flow can be a little intimidating. It might feel, hold on guys, we're going to watch this. We'll manage our position if we need to. I want to see how strong this retracement pop is really what I want to see. You're right. Real ones will know value from 100%. And anybody getting into order flow, I know you can. I'm not saying I know, but most likely you can clearly see the difference in this way about trading than other styles of trading. I know you can make the connections in your head and you recognize this is different. You, because it's the same connections that I made. I know you can recognize that, there's something there. I'm not saying order flow isn't a holy grail. Order flow isn't something that's like that treasure you were looking for and this is going to solve all your problems. But you clearly see, this seems like a way more logical way to go about trading because of the logic and reasoning behind a lot of the decisions being made. All right, you don't just have to, hey, trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. The market's doing this because trust me, bro. It's none of that. It's logic, reasoning, it's order flow. We're gonna manage this position at the highs. If we make a new high, we're gonna manage this one right here. Just because this is a premature short, right? We haven't got that. We haven't got the market structure to the downside yet. So this one contract that I threw in there, I think it's important to explain the thought process. But this contract that I threw in there is very premature. We have not taken out these levels. So I just, again, I know you guys are all making your own decisions, but I want to explain the thought process so people at least know what I'm thinking, so you don't put yourself in a position you don't want to be in. But this is a premature trade. We have not broken structure. Okay. Alright, if you is the only thing that they still have PDT rule until they change it. Yeah, once they change the PDT rule, it's wraps. And I hope that conversation comes back around again soon. I will say though, guys, moving forward, I know we're live here on TikTok, but I'm gonna be focusing a little bit more on the YouTube live chat. So I'll have something up letting you guys know. Go over to YouTube, but the primary focus is gonna be over there. So my bad, big deal. I know I know I'm getting to some of your messages late, but I'm looking at both chats over here. You went long premature on ES. That's fine. Just make sure you manage your risk. Any oh I so we're gonna manage our risk here. See, you see the no hesitation in managing risk. But let's be patient here because we could re-enter. Let's read this order flow. Let me go bid ask imbalance. A lot of okay. I'll manage this if I need to. Don't worry. I need to see this, so let me go to the 1 minute. We got some imbalances on the offer. Let's see if they hold real quick, but we will manage this. This candle open up outside this level of value. We need to see it dip back inside there. We're getting some volume behind this, but we need to see. We continue. Yeah, we got some sellers trying to step in. Trying. We'll wait. Why didn't you short? Well, we were managing the positions a couple ways here, but I have a style of managing my positions like instantly. I was documenting my trades. I was journaling my trades, and after about 100 trades, my average hold time for my winning trades was about 18 minutes. My average hold time for my losing trades was about 2 to 3 minutes. Like when I'm in a trade and it's not working, I'm out of there. I'm out of there. I'm not sitting in there. I'm not bag holding. If it then runs in my direction, that's cool. That's fine. That's cool. Selling absorption. When I start to see something like this, right? When I see something like that and we trade back when this, I'm done with this level. I'm not touching this level again. Not until we actually break structure. Once you see it start playing games like that and doing some nonsense and trade outside of value, trade back inside value, it's like, all right, miss me with that BS. I'm not even trading that. I'm not even. My bad, big deal. My bad, my bad, my bad. What did you use for your journal? TradeZella? Yeah, TradeZella. What you can do is you can connect your broker. You can sync your broker to it. So every single trade that you take, it automatically is fed right into your trading journal. This actually is not a bad short. We're actually, I'm gonna stay disciplined. This is not. This is actually not bad. We've had to stop at the highs. Nah, selling absorption when I logged earlier. Sorry, on ES. I got you. They're trying to reel you in for short. Haha. Exactly, TT. You already kind of see how the game goes. You see how they entice you with certain price levels. You see how they'll kind of entice you with that herd mentality and all those kind of things. Yeah, see this is not a level to be trading. Like this is where when you recognize it, like this is where you get chopped up. You know, once price starts to disrespect one of those, like hands off the wheel. It ain't even worth it because you don't want to get chopped up. Even if it later on moves in your direction, that's where it'll chop you up multiple times before that. And if you're not getting chopped up, that's because you either have an extremely wide stop, and if you have an extremely wide stop, that's because you're not trading with a lot of size. You're not even adding to your position. And if you do have size on it and you're not getting chopped up, you probably don't have very good risk management. Because the wider the stop, the less size that you use. The tighter the stop, the more size you put on. What's the order flow tool that I'm using? I'm using ExoCharts. My bad, story. I just seen your comment, bro. I'm gonna go back to this candle. I think it's the easiest way to read the order flow and to learn order flow because it looks exactly like the candles. Because if I take off the order flow numbers on top of the candle, this is what it's gonna look like. Regular candlesticks, right? Let's go back to the 5 minute chart. I'm not a big fan of the 1 minute. Never been a big fan of the one. You only use prints and clusters. Yeah, I think once you use the order flow tools for a while, you start to get a good idea for what exactly it is that you like, what specific tools. And I think it comes down to a personal feel. There's certain tools that are efficient for you. There's somewhere, not so much. Let's get this order flow back on there. I feel naked without it. It's nice to see some down moves though, huh, guys? Like we've been ripping to the upside. If you kept that long bias with all-time highs and just kept targeting the all-time highs for liquidity, then you probably did really well over the last like month. I mean, that's all we did was put in a new all-time highs. But another reason why we're extremely bearish is because our longer view target is going to be this low over here. I refer to remove all candles along with red and green colors. Colors trigger emotion and FOMO. No, I hear you. I've been trading on candles that aren't red and green for so long now. Like I think Blue and black now trigger emotion. Not even red and green. Went long on ES. Nice TT. Right, this trade that I took right here would have just, just been targeting these lows down here. I was getting short here, stop out at the highs, short here, stop out at the highs. Super tight risk would have just been targeting, what would that have been? That would have been what, 827. That would have been what, almost a 50 point move, 40 to 50 points on a what? What was the risk on that? Risk on that was around what? 3 to 5 points of risk for a potential 40 to 50. That's a great risk to reward. Like that's phenomenal. I'll stop out on two of those real quick any day. Lower probability, right? Not great positioning. We don't, whatever. But to retarget those lows, like that's the calculations that's going on in the head that you don't see. It's like, oh, risk reward. I can put my stop there. I can target these lows. That makes sense. That's why it's easy to get out of the position, because you kind of are adjusting expectations correctly. And then also you understand the level of conviction in each trade. I think each trade has a different level of conviction. And our behaviors, I believe, should match that conviction. Too much conviction, though, in one trade can definitely cause some stubbornness. You guys know how that plays out. Only due to buyers stepping in off my area, we will see. Got you, bro. EOSC thoughts? No thoughts on that right now. Taking a look at NASDAQ. Xavier, I don't endorse any props, brother. I'm sorry. What about Mara? We're looking at futures right now, but we will look at more individual underlyings here in a little bit. I can pull that up here in a moment too. Yo, this drawing tool on TradingView is actually pretty smooth. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's pretty easy to write with. I only make that comment because some softwares aren't, very easy to use in terms of like that their drawing tools, but they've been cooking with theirs. I ain't gonna lie. I was saying this the other day, back in like 2019, 2020, TradingView was not even nearly as big as it is now. Like TradingView back in the day was like, just a much smaller company, and it's kind of crazy to see, 5 or 6 years later, the companies in the trading space that actually continued to grow and continued to build. And TradingView was one of those that came out on top. Same thing with Webull. Webull used to be a little bit more popular, not as much anymore, but I remember seeing it in like 2018. I remember seeing Webull in like 2018, 2019. I'm like, who's going to use Webull? Number one, who's going to use Webull over Robinhood? Because those were like the most basic beginner brokerages to go with. But they ended up making a name for themselves and killing it. And then Robinhood is another story. I don't know any. I don't even like to use the word real, but I don't know any serious trader that's going to use Robinhood for their real brokerage account. But in terms of getting the beginner used to the markets and not scared of the markets, Robinhood did a great job of doing that. And, getting new people in there at least to buy and sell their first stock, even if they don't really make or lose any money. Familiarizes the public with being able to enter and exit the market more than most. See, the very indecisive type price action is stuff I don't want to be in, especially when it's near levels where I make very important decisions. So because of that, it's like, hands off the wheel. I'm gonna sit here and stay patient. I don't, we don't need to trade. We don't need to take the opportunities. Bruh. This is going to be pretty much boring for the rest of the day. So we're going to start to wrap here soon. You guys know the game plan. If we trade to higher levels, we'll look for the potential short. But if we reclaim that level of value, all hands off the wheel. We're sitting on the sidelines. If we sell off, then we retrace and we'll look for the short opportunity. But we're in a little bit more of a bearish overall mindset. Through this region right here, I'm not going to be taking longs, but I do hope the market can make it back up to these levels. That does not mean I'm going to be taking the long. Because if it makes it back up to these levels, I'd be pretty surprised. But I'd be impressed and I'd be surprised. And I'd also be happy because we would then take advantage of that opportunity. But not as likely because of the bear bias and context that we have right now. But we'll go from there. We'll be back here later with a little recap on how the day went. So if you want the free order flow cheat sheet, I will get back to everybody else that has already messaged me on Instagram. But if you don't have that already, message me on Instagram. I'll get that to you. You can use the concepts and ideas that you see on there, and then you can do more research and go from there. That's going to be it. Today's what? Today is Wednesday, my bad. A couple days left in the trading week. We may get more great opportunities because the market environment's shifting very slowly, especially after the first rate cut this year that we got. So we'll go from there. Big deal. TT, Charles, Stelline, everybody, we'll catch you guys in the next live. We'll catch you guys later today.